What's good, YouTube? Heretic Jones with regular everyday normal gamers union coming at you with a how-to video actually today about how to make effective and simple thumbnails for your video uploads. Hope it helps. Enjoy. So the first thing that you want to do is determine what tools you're going to be using. So I use, as you can see on the screen here, Wondershare Filmora for my video editing. Whatever tool you use to edit your videos will probably have enough functionality to accomplish the same thing I do with this. It's a very basic tool, and I use it because it was like 30 bucks. So whatever you have, I'm sure can do everything this does and more. And all you're doing is taking a screenshot anyways. So not a big deal. The other tool that I use is GIMP, and that is your poor man's Photoshop. If you use Photoshop, it'll look very similar. You can do everything in Photoshop and more, again, that you can do in GIMP. So, grab GIMP. It's free. If you already have Photoshop, great, use that. Whatever you're comfortable with for manipulating images is the way to go. And that is about it, really. The first thing you're going to want to do is select an image to use as the basis, the canvas, so to speak, for your thumbnail. And what I do is at the end of editing the video that the thumbnail is being made for, I take a screenshot of a scene that jumped out at me, that's fresh in my memory from that playthrough. Something that made me go, whoa, or dang, something I thought that was just super cool looking, something that jumps out at me. And so what I've chosen is what you can see here on the screen. Let's make this a little bit bigger for you guys. So what you can see here is I came upon in the underground this bombed out multi-level area where there's ropes going up to the next level you need to progress to, and you have these steel beams coming through, you have some debris falling down on, and you have a fire burning over here, you have water pouring down. It was just really showcasing the immersive nature of the game, and it really jumped out at me. So I decided that's what I'm going to use for my thumbnail. So all you need to do in Filmora is click this snapshot button, which I already did, and it'll create a snapshot for you here. Whatever tool you use, there's got to be a way to take a snapshot or similar. So just do that and then find that image and go ahead and open it in GIMP. So at this point, we're basically done with Filmora, so I'm going to get that out of the way. I like to give myself a little more workspace to work with. And here we are in GIMP. This looks a lot like Photoshop. So Photoshop Lite, Kmart Photoshop, whatever. The point is, this is what we're going to use. I have another file that I use for the game logo that I use, which is very commonly used file. So it's easy for me to open by going to Open Recent and going in here. If you don't have a logo, you can get one from Google, for the game that your video is focused on. If you're playing Minecraft, you can get a Minecraft logo. If you're playing CSGO, same thing, with that. You just Google a nice transparent logo file and get that downloaded and, open it up with GIMP so that you have it opened up here and you have a nice transparent logo file. So I open that file up and it opens in a separate window. I do a Control C to copy it to the clipboard. I come back over here to my canvas. Control V throws it right in there. Go over to your toolbox and choose your move tool and just move it right up into the corner. Now don't stick it right up in the corner like so. In a thumbnail, real estate is at a premium. You don't have a whole lot of space to work with, but just give yourself a nice buffer between the edges of that, so it doesn't look squashed so much into the center, and it doesn't also look like off the screen when it's in thumbnail format. Now you can put this wherever you want. You can put it up in the upper left. You can put it down here if you want. If you think that looks cool, you can put it up over here like so. For the way that this picture is set up and how my dude is standing right here, I'm gonna put it in the upper left, just like that. And we're actually done with this logo file, so we can close that and get that out of the way. The next thing we want to do is add some informative text, and here's where you can have a little fun. But it's really just super easy to draw a nice big text box like so. Sorry, I forgot and skipped a step here. You come over to your toolbox, you choose the text tool, and then you just drag a box for your text to go in. Then you click in that box and you type whatever it is that you want to say. Now here you just want to provide a quick blurb for what your video is about. So for instance, if this is just a basic like let's play for the Division, we already know it's the Division because of the giant logo. So we would do let's play, you know, number 134, you know, and then some, you know, information about it. But mine's not a basic let's play. It's a series I'm working on called The Daily Grind. So I'm going to do The Daily Grind Day 13. And then I'm going to hit another hard return, and I'm going to say rank 35, and an arrow to indicate 2, rank 36. And now I'm going to, you know, punch in here stuff that came up in my narration that is, you know, noteworthy as part of the video. Like for my last one, I talked about the new It trailer. I talked about, you know, the theory that reality is a matrix-like simulation and other crazy banana stuff like that. In this one, I had some really good encounters where I pulled off a bunch of consecutive headshots, and it was really cool. So we're going to do Headshot Clinic. And then, let's see, we had some guest stars in this one. And then I also basically have some updated information. Like last video, I said I was having a special announcement this video. But I don't like how much space the word announcement takes up in the thumbnail, so I'm just going to say and updates. So, you know, the audience knows that I'm providing updated information about my channel and my videos and so on. So something I've found in GIMP is that if I set the font size and color and, you know, face and then start typing, it just reverts back to this default and it looks like crap. So let's actually select all the text, and you can choose from any of the pre-included fonts, or you can download a font and install it just in Windows, and GIMP will pull it directly from there to give you a kind of, you know, a little flair, you know, for the use of a special font. You can use Comic Sans if you want to be ironic, or like Chiller for the same purposes, you know, or whatever. You can hunt down like a Halo font if you do, you know, a Halo video, or Mass Effect. You can, you know, Google a Mass Effect font. There's tons of free fonts out there. Find it, download it, and you can use it right here. So that's what I did. I found a font called Montserrat Bold that is very similar to the Division logo font, and so I downloaded that, and that's what I use. I think we can get away with about 30 pixels here. Maybe 31, maybe 32 even. Looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and come back over to our toolbox here, and we want to center justify it. So it's not, because you'll notice when it was left justified, that all of this text was like right up in my dude's face here. If we center it, it looks a little bit better, a little more off, you know, to the side there without being right up on that right margin. So center justify is going to work perfectly for our purposes here. Now we want to change the color. Now what I did previously in making thumbnails is I used the little ink blotter, the eyedropper tool, to grab the orange off of this logo. But since I've already done that, I have it right here, and it stays there for you, you know, for forever, or until you uninstall the program or get a new computer or whatever. So I choose that color. So now it's nice and orange. Another little thing I like to do, and this is, you know, completely incidental to, you know, the type of content that I make, but you can do little things like that. Like, because the D is like slashed off and has this strike through in the official logo, I like to make the D, just the D, have a strike through and be italicized. And sometimes I'll carry that theme throughout all of the text here, but you know, you don't have to get too fancy. I worked with GIMP for a whole afternoon. Like, how do I make the strike through, you know, make it look just like this? Like, how do I do that for like the daily grind and make it look all cool? I figured out how to do it, but it was just way too much trouble to, you know, way more trouble than it's worth. So I just stick with this little method just to do something fun. So at this point you might think, great, we're done. The problem is that would be impossible to read in a thumbnail size. It's difficult to read right now because of the lack of contrast between the text and the background. You don't want to choose anything too bright for your background. You don't want to choose anything too dark because there won't be any detail. But even with something neutral like this color of text is difficult to read. And if I just changed it to black, it would not look as cool. So our solution is to give it a nice cool outline. The way that you do that in GIMP is pretty simple. So in our text box here, what we want to do is right click and choose path from text. Then it looks like it didn't do anything, but under the hood it did all sorts of shit. Just trust it. Once you've clicked that, go to select and choose from path. And this is where you're going to see some results. So now we have a selection around all of our text, which is really handy. The next thing we want to do is come over to our layers dock and choose new layer. So that was this button right here. You can name it something if you want. I don't even bother. Just create a new layer. Then what we want to do is drag this layer underneath our text layer. So now this is where our outline layer is going to live. So that's done. So coming back over here to our main window, we want to go to select and then grow. You don't have to grow this too much. Just a little dab will do you. Now, because there's so little contrast between the color of the text and the color of the background in this particular shot, normally I'd go for just 2, right? Which looks like that. And you can kind of see the selection is kind of ballooned out behind the text a little bit. It would look really slick if we did that, but it wouldn't make it pop as much when there's this little amount of contrast. So we're going to actually grow it by 3 pixels instead. So that looks really chunky, but trust me, it'll turn out a lot better. So now what we need to do is turn that grown selection from nothing more than a selection that's ballooned out a little bit to function as an outline. So to do that, we come over here to our layers dock and we click this eyeball to hide the text layer. As you can see over here in our main window, now we just have the selection. At this point, it's super simple. We just want to fill that with color. So we come over here to our toolbox dock. We hit our bucket tool. It's already on black, but you can choose whatever color you want to. I think black works perfectly for these purposes, and so that's what we're going to use. And we just come over here and click anywhere in this selection. I choose a big chunk of it so it's easier, like there. Now we have that filled in. We come back over to our layers dock and turn our text layer back on. And now we have a nicely outlined bit of text. You can come up here to select, hit none, and you're basically done. All you have to do at this point is save your project, which I always do, and then you just export it, as a PNG or JPEG. I always do a PNG, and then you're done. That is your thumbnail, and it's just that easy. And you can, from this basic sort of template, you can get as crazy as you want with it and spend as much time as you want, or as little. If you're rapidly, uploading content and stuff on a regular schedule, something simple like this would probably help you with that. So to get a feel for how it's going to look as a thumbnail, you can actually go into Windows Explorer where you saved the file and change your view to extra large icons. And as you can see, you can get a really cool view of what your thumbnails are going to look like. And if you see something that you want to tweak, or see something you want to change, you see a mistake that you made, you can easily go back into GIMP and change whatever you want to change. You can use undo, like Control-Z, like many programs have. Same thing in GIMP, to back your way up a few steps, to fix something, to change something, to go in a different direction. And you're done. Once you have this saved as a PNG file, you can throw that into YouTube as your custom thumbnail. And now you have a nice little thumbnail that tells your audience what game you're playing, what it, looks like, and so forth. And if it's part of a series, or what's going on in the video, if it's just a let's play, what's happening in that video. So it's nice and informational, and hopefully it'll help you get some views. So I hope this helps, and I hope you've enjoyed this how-to on how to make a quick, easy, but still very decent, respectable looking thumbnail for your video to add some custom flair to your uploads. And as always, keep killing it, and thanks for coming out.